This is Julio's Corner, my corner of the internet where I talk about whatever is on my mind. It's usually media that I've watched, read, or listened to. In this episode, we're going to talk about jailbreaking my Kindle and more. This episode is being recorded on Sunday, June 7th, 2026. And welcome back to the show. As always, I am your host, Julio de Nueva York. And here we are, recording another one. This is slowly becoming more of a personal audio diary, than a show about content. But again, it's whatever's on my mind. So I think it's kind of par for the course, so to speak. Anyways, I had an interesting week, more interesting than the usual. Around Tuesday, I woke up with an inflamed right eye. My sclera, the white part of my eye, was irritated. A capillary must have burst or something, because the whole left side of my right eye was blood red. And it's still pretty much the same, slightly less red than Tuesday, of course. So now it looks like a red highlighter is on, was marked the left half of my right eye. Anyways, point is, it looks worse than it feels, because I hardly feel anything other than mildly irritated, which is pretty much what I usually feel due to seasonal allergies around this time of the year. That being said, it's not fun to look at. So come Wednesday, after going to work I realized that, this is not going to look fine. So the final 2 days of the week, Thursday and Friday, I had to walk around with an eye patch. And that was interesting in that I've never walked around with just one eye. So I had a glaring blind spot, obviously, on my right side. Also, my depth perception was out of whack because, again, I'm only able to see with one eye. The worst eye, of course, the one that's the weakest prescription, wise. So my farsightedness and nearsightedness was worse, and I was clumsier than normal. I had to be extra careful walking around, especially at night, because again, my vision isn't great at night anyway. So add that with an eye patch on my dominant eye, the right one, and it's just harder to navigate and do things because my depth perception. So I was extra careful, but I had the patch on, which I guess made it even more glaring. So people couldn't help but ask, "Are you okay?" versus ignoring me or being disgusted by the redness of my eyes. So there's that. At least, whatever. Either way, it would have been an attention getter, so to speak. Probably due to this issue as well, or maybe not totally related, but coincidentally, I was trying to shape out my beard, and I screwed that up. So I ended up shaving off the beard and just kept a mustache. So now I kind of looked like it's a me, Mario de Español, like Mario de Colombia. Whatever. I'm gonna stick with this look for now. The porn stash from the 80s and 70s. I might shape it up a little bit so it looks better than what it looks like right now. It's just a big fuzzy line over my upper lip. So it's kind of cartoonish looking. So I definitely will make it more angular, get the corners nice and sharp. And yeah, that's a little bit about what's been going on with me. On to more important stuff. In terms of my media library, as you already know, I'm pretty sure I spoke about it in the last episode, that I've downloaded roughly around 3,000 plus books from my Kindle library. I think that's the majority. I think that's all of them. I was able to convert most of them with Calibra and the plugins that allow you to do so. And the next step was now jailbreaking the Kindle, freeing it from the Amazon ecosystem altogether. So this week I did just that. I have a 10 gen Paperwhite from March of 2019. So it's a almost seven, no, actually it is a 7-year old device. So it can no longer be updated software wise, which works in my favor because that allows the firmware that it has is more modern, but not too modern that it is unable to be jailbroken. So with the latest jailbreak options available, my firmware is in the sweet spot. So I was able to do it. It took some work. I'm going to have links in the show notes if you're interested in jailbreaking your device, your Kindle, if it qualifies. It doesn't have to specifically be my model. My model is just a perfect option for this option. But if your firmware on your Kindle device is the same one, and of course all that information will be in the reference material that I'll have the links for on my show notes, so you can check for yourself. That being said, I saw the YouTube video first, and then I went to the websites. I used this thing called Jailbreak. That was the option that would best work on my device because it uses the if your Kindle has ads on it, because when you buy a Kindle, you have the option to buy one with ads or pay an extra $20 or so to have it ad free. If you decided not to pay the extra $20 and you have ads on your device, well, perfect. It uses that feature, quote unquote, as a loophole to jailbreak your device. And so luckily for me, that was the case. My device has ads. And so this thing called Jailbreak, which is the software that allows you to jailbreak it with the ad option, putting your device on airplane mode, it uses that to get behind the firewall or whatever and jailbreak it. And I have 3 links that I had to use to get it to work because the YouTube video and the original Kindle modding wiki, that's the source material for the YouTube video, kept saying that you need a PC to do this. And obviously I do not have a PC, I have a Mac. So I spent a few hours looking, is there a Mac way of doing it? And all sources led me back to the Kindle modding wiki. But again, that source, which has all the links that you need to download software and everything, keeps saying that you need a PC. It doesn't mention Mac in any of its source material. Not to mention that when you open up the Kindle on your device, on your computer, you're supposed to see the certain folders that did not show it did not show up automatically on my Mac whenever I connected my Kindle to the Mac. So this final website article that I found from Medium called the link is in the show notes. I don't remember the name. I think it's Jailbreaking Kindle with Jailbreak. Yeah, Jailbreaking Kindle with Jailbreak. That's going to be in my show notes. With that article, it again referenced the same material. It just gave us it also gave you the Mac way of doing it. So apparently when you when you connect your Kindle to to your computer, to your Mac, the files, the folders and whatnot that automatically show up on a PC for some reason are hidden on the Mac. So you got to hold like command shift and comma or something. It's in the article. And once I did that, those folders showed up, and then that was it. That was my way in. I was able to do it. My first initial attempt didn't work as planned. And I think it's because I accidentally turned off airplane mode, so it was connected to Wi-Fi. So by clicking on the ads that you're supposed to click for the software to get activated wouldn't work because the ad would just go to the Kindle website home store in on the internet and override it. So then I had to put it back on airplane mode, restart my device a few times, and then it finally took effect. So yeah, using the YouTube video to see the screens that I'm supposed to see when doing the steps, the Kindle modding wiki to get the software to do the jailbreak, and then of course the article that showed me the extra steps for the Mac side of things if you have a Mac and not a PC, culminated in me getting my Kindle jailbroken and downloading other stuff on it. Now, there's still some other things I can do to it, but the important thing, the most important step, which was jailbreaking it and freeing it from the Kindle ecosystem, that's already done. Now I can do further modding, like changing the screensaver wallpaper and whatnot. Further customizations. I can do that next, but I'm holding off on that because that's going to take some more time, some more research on it. But the important thing has already been done, so I'm happy with that. So the final thing that I need to do, as I've already mentioned in the last episode, is to make a spreadsheet of all the movies and TV shows that I've bought licenses to, so to speak, from the Apple Store, from Vudu, Amazon, etc. And that way I'll know how to maintain those files for when the publishers decide to pull them off my my vault or whatever. I'll have my own free copy that's untouchable. And yeah, that's it with my Kindle stuff. Now on to the media things. So as I mentioned, I'm still watching La Baby Sister. I'm on episode 50 something or 40 something at this point, and I think I'm getting fed up with it. The only thing that's really keeping me invested is the actress Paola Rey, because I find her attractive. She's a pretty face. Her acting is a little over the top, but it's a telenovela. In general, telenovelas have over the top acting, but the writing is crap. The plots that are happening are garbage, and with the exception of her love interest, and maybe one or two other characters, I really don't care for the show. It's just it feels like these plots, these subplots and plot premises could easily be wrapped up in a shorter episode show. But they're going. It's a telenovela. They telenovelas tend to go for 100 something episodes, so they have to stretch it out. And sadly, most of the characters in the show are garbage. For instance, as I mentioned, her brother, Fabiana's brother, Giovanni, he's such a trash character. He's a man child. He doesn't do anything, and he has, as I mentioned in the last episode, he escaped his responsibilities from the military. He dodged the draft, so to speak. He dodged his the terms of service that he needs to serve in the military by saying that he has this kid. And so now the woman, the mother of the child, left the kid in his hands, so she can go to Venezuela to for her aspiring model career. And at least that's the plot device for her to just have a one shot appearance and disappear. And since then, Giovanni hasn't really been a father. He's just been leaving the kid at the house for his mother to take care of. So there's that. So he's not even taking care of his son, quote unquote son. We don't even know if it's 100% true that he's the biological father or not. He sort of dresses like him, so that's what they're using as as proof that it has to be your son. He looks exactly like you, even though we're not doing a DNA test. He's not taking care of that kid. So he should at least be working, right? At least try to help pay for the expenses of the household, because you're an adult, you're a grown ass man, and you're living rent free in your parents' house. You're eating them out of house and home. They buy your clothes. They do everything for you. The least you can do is help pay for some of the expenses. But he's not even really doing that. Like his friend, who's in love with Fabiana, is now going to Europe to, I think he's going to Sweden. It's either Sweden or Suiza, I think is what he said. So that, I think Suiza is either Sweden or Switzerland. I'm not sure. I'll have to look up what the word, what Suiza stands for, and what Suiza is Spanish for. Anyway, he's going to Suiza to get an operation to basically remove his sweat gland, because his problem is he sweats profusely, especially when he's around Fabiana, which is a turnoff for her. But more importantly, Fabiana is just not into you. So he believes in his own delusions that if he's no longer sweating profusely around her, he'll be able to win her heart, even though she's never shown him really the time of day ever, and has shown no real interest in him. And she has always stood him up in certain in dates and stuff like that. And yeah, she doesn't show any interest in him whatsoever, but he's infatuated with her, and he just believes, you know what, this will be, at the very least, this will be the last thing I do. And if I still can't win your heart after this operation, then I'll finally move on. So that's his plot device, his plot, so to speak. So he's one of the few characters that I kind of like, but not enough that I'm invested. Meanwhile, so Fabiana and Danielle finally did the deed. They slept with each other. But now, because what's her face? Marta now knows that obviously Danielle, well, prior to this one night, he did not cheat on her, right? He did not cheat on her with Veronica. So she's trying to win Danielle back. And Danielle has already told her in so many words that our marriage is over. You know, we're separated. We'll still share custody of the kids. We'll figure it out along the way, but we need to stop trying to pretend like nothing happened, and we're a happily married family. Anyways, while the relationship between Danielle and Fabiana was getting stronger behind the scenes, so to speak, Roberto, what's her name's agent, Marta's agent, is fed up with Marta, because Marta said, you know what, I can't think about a second edition of my book. I can't think about going to Spain to do a book tour junket with my husband, because our marriage is currently in disarray, and I'm trying to fix it. And right now, my career doesn't matter to me as much as trying to fix my marriage. So he's fed up with her, and he decides, you know what, I'm just going to blow it up. So he produces this news show, this news gossip show that reveals that they're separated, and there's some possibility that Danielle had an affair. They use the pictures that Veronica fabricated as proof of this affair that Danielle had, and all of this becomes national news. So now all her clients who have been seeking her counsel for relationship advice see her as a fraud, because her book is about how my marriage is perfect. Our 10 years of marriage has been 10 years of a honeymoon because it's just so blissful and perfect and everything. And now this new story has blown that up. So she quit the show, and at the same time, Roberto, well, even if you didn't quit, I was going to fire you. Our relationship is over. So now at her private firm, all her appointments were canceled. No one wants to see her anymore. Same thing with Danielle. He's a divorce lawyer, so now he's losing clients as well. And then so all of this is happening. So she's stressing out being a little delusional, thinking that she can still win over Danielle, and in one of these nights that she that didn't pan out, one of her attempts to get him to kiss her and whatnot didn't pan out. She decides, I'm just gonna stay at my friend's house, Jorge, I think is his name, who at the moment he's going to a seminar, a psychological seminar in I believe it was Caracas, another city in Colombia. So while he's away, she's going to be home alone, and she has Valium, a bottle of Valium. He advises her, you know what, you really shouldn't be taking that. And she's like, don't worry about it, I'll be fine. And of course, she ODs on the Valium. But when Danielle finds her and rushes her off to the emergency room, everyone suspects suicide. And seeing how overly concerned Danielle is about her, and thinking that she committed suicide because she's so mentally distraught or whatever, and so now he's trying to be he's like walking on eggshells with her, and like, yeah, you can come back home, we'll take care of you, and we'll be together and whatnot, and I won't leave you alone in this time of crisis. Instead of disavowing him of those notions that it was a suicide attempt, instead of, she just accidentally took more than she should have, because she was just trying to get to sleep and being an idiot, which is crazy, because if you're a psychiatrist, like, you should know the dosages, right? I mean, she prescribed the medicine to herself, and so being someone who does these prescriptions, I would think you would have a better understanding of Valium, and I think it's a depressant, right? So she took a pill, and she didn't sleep. It didn't take effect fast enough, so she took like a second or third one, and then obviously that's too much. So she somehow misdiagnosed herself or whatever, misprescribed herself, so to speak. But instead of clarifying the situation, she feels like, you know what? Yeah, let him think that I committed suicide, because you know what? Now I'm in the house with him, and I can use this as a way to win him back, because he's gonna be so lovey-dovey and caring for me, and while he's caring for me, because I'm so delicate, I can creep back into his heart and make him love me again. And Jorge's telling him, like, you can't win love with deception. Like, how can you be so manipulative? But I mean, that's been her MO this whole time. Like, remember, I mentioned, I don't know, maybe last episode or the episode before that she was using the kids. She was mentally abusing her children to try to force Danielle to grovel at her feet. But now she's using her pretend suicide attempt as a way to win him back, which is, it's just insane. So I'm just getting tired of this, because so then Jorge wanted to explain to Daniel, listen, she's lying to you, but he's like, no, I don't want to hear, don't tell me anything, which is something he always does. He never wants to listen to the person that's going to give him the information that could have resolved his problem immediately. And so that stretches the storyline until finally, eventually, he'll eventually find out. And how will he eventually find out? I don't know. But obviously, it's going to be, I don't know, another 20 episodes or so, and I'm kind of fed up with that. So right now, they're living together now. Fabiana, la baby sister, is mentally anguished seeing them together, being lovey-dovey, when in fact he's trying to tell her no, no, no. And the one making the advances is of course Marta. So seeing her kissing him, even if he's not reciprocating, it's just too painful for her to see. Even though she promised that she could still, be supportive for the family and this and that, it hurts her too much, and so I have to leave the house. But her family, of course, needs the money that she's making, because again, Giovanni's not working. They now have 2 extra mouths to feed because his brother showed up, the actual love interest of Fabiana's mother, and of course Giovanni's quote unquote child, who he doesn't take care of, and of course himself, who he's not really working. Oh yeah, the other thing. So he is going out at night as a cab driver, but somehow he never picks up clients. The last client he picked up was this guy that was doing that he did mariachi with the other time in a previous episode that was a big fiasco, and he didn't get paid that time either. And this time around, that guy now is no longer a mariachi guy. He's now a producer or talent agent making films. He doesn't specify what kind of films he's making, but I think he's gonna end up being a porn producer. Regardless, he's now, because he's basically a dreamer. He thinks, hey, maybe you can hook me up. Maybe acting is actually my destiny. I'm not going to be a cab driver. I'm not into finances. Acting, being a movie star, that's what I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be the attention. I'm supposed to have cameras and spotlight and blah, blah, blah. Because he's a man baby. He just wants adulation and attention and no responsibilities. Which, I mean, I'm sick and tired of this. I don't want to see this character ever. There's only one storyline I'm really interested, that I'm invested in, and even that storyline with Fabiana, Danielle, and Marta is getting old and tiresome. So there's a current episode that I'm on right now that I don't even know if I want to finish it. Honestly, I'm kind of sick of it. So I don't know. I am thinking that I'm going to move on to another novela. There's one called La Madre Luna, which also came out a few years after La Baby Sister, I think, that I was actually watching and enjoying with my ex-wife at the time. And we just never got to finish it. So, and I found it available on a website somewhere. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just go to that one, because that one actually, I remember being a good one. La Baby Sister, the only reason why I want to see it is because of Paola Rey, which I don't know if it's enough for me to continue, because it really, I feel I'm so annoyed by it. Just her, she's the only reason I'm watching it, really. And I don't know if that's enough to keep me as a watcher, when I could be watching more. I could watch better quality telenovelas out there. I mean, I still have Betty La Fea, which I've seen several times already. So I mean, I have to expand my horizons. But La Baby Sister is not it. On to the other thing, Farscape. I'm on season 4, which is the final season of the show, along with the podcast So Farscape. So we're moving well along, and we'll be finished with Farscape, the show, and then of course the miniseries, The Peacekeeper Wars, and that'll be that. This will probably be another 2-week venture, and then I'll be able to go back to the K-drama and move on to some other stuff. La Madre Luna, as I mentioned, will probably be the next one. Speaking of which, I may, ending podcasts and whatnot, I may be taking a break from podcasting the following week, because in 4 days, June 11th, the FIFA World Cup, La Mundial, is going to begin. And those games are obviously long, 3-hour games. I want to see all of them. I am recording them. They're going to be on Telemundo, so it's going to be in Español, which is perfect because I'm trying to mejorar mi español. And poco a poco yo estoy aprendiendo y mejorando mi español. Grammar, I still feel, is a challenge. I keep forgetting about conjugations, which is something that I noticed in one of the lessons. As I was doing it, I forgot all about conjugations. So I kept using the same verb tense, getting it wrong, and then realizing, oh, right, the verb changes when you're using, depending if you're using I, you, he, she, or they, which is what Romance languages do. French and Spanish, they both, the verb, for instance, the verb to have, right? Tener, it changes. Is yo tengo, tú tienes, ella tiene, él tiene, ustedes tienen, right? Instead of tiene, it changes. Yo tengo, tú tienes, él tiene, ella tiene, ellos tienen. So I forgot about that, because Rosetta Stone teaches, I guess it's trying to use like the immersion method to teach you languages, but I don't know if that method is, so I guess they don't mind you making mistakes. Like that's the whole point of learning is you make mistakes and by getting the red X, it'll burn your memory that that's wrong, and so when you get it right, it'll be further impactful, so to speak. So, but I think I'm gonna probably look into other methods of Spanish, like maybe look up a Spanish textbook online. I'm sure there's plenty available in the public domain. Maybe look up Pimsleur's, because that's another learning method, Pimsleur language learning. And so anyway, back to the point. Because FIFA World Cup, which is a monthly event, I mean, sorry, it's every 4 years. But when the tournament is happening, it's a month long. So that may because of it, I may not be podcasting because I just won't have time for it. We'll see. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to continue recording while watching the World Cup and maybe talking about it. We'll see. It will be extensive. Consuming that much time of games, like the NFL is. Anyways, speaking of sports, the NBA Finals is happening right now. As you know, I'm from New York. Yo estoy de Nueva York. The New York Knicks are in the finals. Right now, they're up 2-0 against the San Antonio Spurs. They were playing in San Antonio, games 1 and 2. The next two games, 3 and 4, will be here in Nueva York at Madison Square Garden. And as you recall, in a previous episode, I was talking about how capitalism is destroying sports because of the greed. It's all about making profit. And here is a perfect example of it. The ticket prices for games 3 and 4 start at $11,000 and $14,000. So the cheapest ticket for game 3 to see the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden is $11,000. That's a third of what I make. Game 4 is $14,000. The median, so speaking, the average is $17,000 for games 3 and 4. 17, I think it's like 17.3 something game 3, 17.4 something game 4. And then of course the most expensive tickets are around $100K. So yeah, you would have to be a millionaire. You would have to be making six figures average. Like your starting salary has to be in the six figures point to even consider, if you wanted to see the New York Knicks in the finals at the Garden, you would have to be mega rich to see it, because the average Joe or Jane would not be able to afford an $11,000 ticket to watch the NBA Finals. Thankfully, it's free on ABC on Channel 7 here in New York if you just want to watch it at the comfort of your home. But like if you wanted to have that communal experience with the crowd, with the home team, and yada yada yada, which is what sports is supposed to be all about, which is what they tell you, which is the PR about it, you would have to be able to cough up $11K to see this once in a 30-year opportunity. Because the last time the Knicks were in the finals was it was against the San Antonio Spurs, and I believe it was in the early 2000s, if not late 90s. Definitely after the 2 3-peats of the Chicago Bulls, because I think the year after Jordan won his second 3-peat, his sixth ring, the following year it was the Knicks against the San Antonio Spurs. So I think that was 99. So that might have been that. I believe that was the last time the Knicks made it to the finals. The last time they won a championship was in the 70s, 1971, I think. So for you to, as a New York Knicks, I'm not a New York Knicks fan, obviously. I was a Chicago Bull fan in the 90s. Now I'm not a fan of basketball at all, because it's just not that good, honestly speaking. At least to me it isn't. I recorded game 2 and I watched it last night, actually. And it's just not the same. There was so many bad decisions because the 3-pointer is such, and not to knock the 3-pointer, right? Because obviously, you make more points if you score 3 versus 2 for every shot. However, you should be efficient with the 3-point shot. You'll see people driving into the paint, and instead of going for the 2-point shot where you're at the point where you are in the paint, you then dish it out to a person in the 3-point line, and then you watch them cough up and miss the shot. And it's just ineffective. So the 3-point accuracy was, I think, it was below 30% or maybe at 30%. When several of those shots could have been easy 2-point baskets, and you would have been securing better odds of winning your games. You would see people making fast breaks to then try to cough up a 3-point shot. Like, fast breaks are meant to be layups or dunks. But anyways, that's how 90s basketball was. And that's the era of basketball that I grew up on and loved and enjoyed. And that kind of basketball is gone. But anyway, I'm checking out the finals because, again, it's the finals, and it's supposed to be a new era. This guy Wembanyama is supposed to be the next big thing now that LeBron is finally on his way out the door, and he's one of the big reasons for why the NBA isn't what it used to be, because he's the king flopper, the king of excuses, the guy who created super teams, the guy who made the slam dunk competition a joke of what it used to be, a shadow of its former self, the guy who killed the All-Star game. Like, he just ruined everything about basketball. It's not about competition anymore or competing or being competitive. It's all about branding, building your brand, doing what's best for yourself, joining super teams instead of just being, having a competitive spirit and like, no, I'm going to be the dominant instead of I'm going to be the king of the NBA. Instead, you know what? I'll join forces with you, and together we can dominate. This is garbage. Like, there's no competitive edge, there's no killer mentality that people like in the 90s used to have. Like your Jordans, your Charles Barkleys, your Kobe Bryants, your Tim Duncans, your David Robinsons, your Olajuwons, your Ewings. These guys from the past, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, they were all about, I'm going to beat you, not let me join you and beat everyone else, which is what LeBron started with his first super team with the Miami Heat. And ever since then, people started following suit because he became the star of the NBA. NBA is LeBron James now, and many generations since then have grown up and followed in his footsteps. This new guy from OKC is picking up bad lessons from him, and doing flops and just dirty play and getting away with it to get easy baskets versus just using your own actual skill and talent to score baskets. And it's just it's just garbage, but whatever. Point is, my main point is the pricing. You need to pay at least 11 or 14,000 to get in a game nowadays. And it's just like the average Joe is not going to have that kind of money. That's a third of most people's salaries. It's just a sad state of affairs that sports have become, where the average Joe can't really enjoy them the way they used to in the past. I mean, championship tickets have always been expensive, right? That's not a surprise, because it's definitely a rare treat, but not at these exorbitant prices. These prices are way extreme in comparison to what they have been in the past. But this is the bar now for sporting events. It's just going to get more and more ridiculous. The NFL, of course, is definitely going to look at this and be like, oh, okay, we can charge even more for the Super Bowl and so on. So anyway, that's all I have to say. And that wraps up the show. If you have any questions, comments, or any thoughts you'd like to share, you can reach me by clicking on the Contact Me link in the show notes. If you're feeling extra generous, you can click on the donate link in the show notes and send some money my way. This show is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International License. This means you can share this episode, remix it, do whatever you want. Just say where you got it from. And as always, thanks for listening.